Hi, I'm Opal Mitchell. I work for the Central Arkansas Library System, and I work at the Nixon branch in Jacksonville. This is the Crafting with Opal program I do on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Tonight I'm going to show you how to sew a simple dog toy out of blue jean type material. It's actually quite simple. It's just something kind of fun and different to do. You can use some old blue jeans for this project if you would like. So it's a great way to upcycle something you would normally just throw away. And it can be made into different sizes just depending on your dog, if you have a bigger dog or a smaller dog. I have actually two small dogs, so the one I'm going to make is kind of sized down for a smaller dog. But you can get the pattern from me if you'd like, and I would just, if you wanted a bigger size one, just blow up the pattern to a larger size bone for them. But that's what we're going to be doing tonight. I think, yeah, that's my notes for what we're going to be doing tonight. And I guess that's the end of the intro here. I'm going to do a comment real quick because the YouTube has a habit of not showing the comments for me when people comment. Alright, well I put in the hello thing in there, so maybe some other people will be watching soon. Alright, so I'm going to switch the camera around and start showing you how to make this. I've already kind of gotten some of the fabric ready. I just cut out two smaller pieces for the bone. This is the one I made the first time for my dog. And when stitching it up, I didn't do a thing where I hid my stitches. You can always hide your stitches if you want to, but I feel like you really don't need to because the dogs are going to be tearing it up anyway. She's had this for a couple of weeks now. She hasn't actually put a hole in it. She's wore it down pretty good, but most of the squeakers, like the middle one's gone for sure, but the side ones squeak a little bit. But she loves squeakers. You want it, Lucy? Yeah, Lucy's my dog that loves toys. She's the one that plays with it. She's here in the room with me. You may hear her shaking and making her collar making noise here in a minute. I just cut out two smaller pieces of the fabric, and I'm going to put the right sides together like so. Make sure that they're pretty well together. And then this is my pattern that I got, and with this one, instead of pinning it down and cutting it out, I'm just going to draw around it, which is a little bit simpler. The pattern should stay pretty well in place just by holding it. But you just trace out your pattern with the water-soluble pen. This one really, if you wanted to use a magic marker, that would be fine because you're going to be cutting on the line, and this is all going to be on the inside of the toy, so it wouldn't matter if you wanted to use a marker to mark this, because it's not something you're going to be wearing. They usually have you use the water-soluble pens on stuff that you're going to be wearing or using that it might show through, and this way you could wash it and the ink would come out. This is not going to show up. It's going to show up good enough for me to see to cut it out. So I'm just going to trace around it, and this will be a fun, like, a beginner's project if you have dogs, or if you have a friend that has a dog that like to make a toy for them. Especially if you're not comfortable with sewing curves, this is a great, if you mess up on this, it's not a big deal. It's just a little dog toy, and that'll get you comfortable with doing lots of curves, because this has lots of curves in it. And I'm going to pin it together so when I cut it out, maybe it won't move around so much when I'm pinning, or when I'm cutting it out. So I'm going to pin it on the inside because I'm going to be cutting along the outside of it. You could always draw two separate ones and then cut them out individually if you like, but if I can cut mine out at the same time, I try to do that. And you just don't want the fabric moving around on you, so just pin it enough where it won't shift around on you while you're cutting it, which this will stay together pretty good, I think. I shouldn't have too much trouble with it moving around on me. Seems like this material kind of stays in place pretty good. So I'm going to call that good and go ahead and cut it out. And you can always, the first one I did, I went and made the pattern bigger the second time around, but the first one when I printed it, it looked kind of small to me. So when I was drawing the pattern, I actually drew it, I stayed away from the side and I drew it out like about 1/4 of an inch bigger around the edges so I could make it bigger, because I didn't want it, it just didn't seem quite big enough. I wanted it big enough that the squeakers that I'm putting in it would fit, because even though I bought the small squeakers for it, it didn't seem like that pattern was quite big enough for what I was wanting it to be. Let me show you. You can buy the squeakers. I just bought some online, and you can get different sizes. I got the smaller size. I think, what was this measurement on this one? Maybe it has it on the package. Well, they go by the inches on how big they are on when you're ordering them, so I know that's smaller. Actually, I guess I could just measure it. Those are about 1 inch. Yeah, those are about 1 inch wide. Yeah. So you can get some smaller than that. Or bigger than that. I don't know that you could get them smaller than that. I think that's the smallest size that I saw. And I found mine on Amazon. I didn't even think that you could buy those, but when I was reading this pattern on the internet, or this project on the internet, I found it, see, what's the name of the website? pillarboxblue.com. It looks like, I don't know, it's on the top of my printed out pattern that I have here. And they said you could just buy them, so I went and Googled it on, or went and looked on Amazon and searched to see if they had them, and sure enough, they have them on there. I'm sure there's some other places you can buy them from besides Amazon, but I've got Amazon Prime, so I knew the shipping would be free. So I just went ahead and got it from there. Alright, so I'm just going to get this cut out. And I'm cutting right there on where I drew my, oops, I was getting the pin, my scissors kind of got hung on that pin on the other side. Okay. And when we're sewing this, we're going to leave a hole so we can come back and put some fiber stuffing in it. I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff over here to the sewing machine area so we can do that part last after we sew it. And what I'm going to sew it closed with is some really thick thread that I like to, that's meant for hand sewing, like hand quilting. Because it's a dog toy, that's the reason why I decided to use a different, stronger type thread, which I don't know that it's totally necessary to use the thread that I chose. She didn't recommend it, the person that wrote the pattern. I just had some on hand and decided, with as aggressive as my puppy dog is with her toys, I thought it might be a good idea to go ahead and use that type of thread for it. Alright, I'm going to just leave these pins on here that I have that's holding it in place. I'm going to leave a hole on one of the straight sides. So I'm going to start towards the end here so I can leave enough of a gap for a hole. And I've got my fabric with the right sides facing each other on the inside. So we're just going to start. And I'm going to back up a little bit just to reinforce a little bit. And this one you'll have to go kind of slow because there's lots of curves. But when you turn, make sure your needle is in the fabric when you turn it, because it'll keep your fabric from moving around. And this has a lot of sharp edges, so you're going to do a lot of shifting of the fabric. And I'm going to get that back in there again and do a little more shifting. Let's see. And I don't think I'm going to run this one over. If I'd had a needle that had a rounded edge on it, my machine would not go over it, and I would have to move it for sure or take it out. But these flat ones, it won't care. It won't get hung up on those. So just make sure you have enough of a seam when you're doing this. You're going to have to learn how to, and this would be a great learning one for going slowly whenever you're sewing. Because I know in the beginning when you're first learning, it's really easy to get going too fast. You really got to watch your hand too, because you don't want to get hit by this piece. Generally, I try not to get my hand too close. And I'm doing a lot of manual turning of my wheel too, because I have a little more control when I do that. Ooh, I got close to that pin. Definitely don't want to hit your pins. Ow! That's another reason why you should take them out, because I've got some sticking right up right there. Let's see, I hope I didn't get too close to the edge there. I'm going to go ahead and put my needle in there and then have a look. I got close, but I'm okay. And I'm going to walk it forward just a little bit because I'm getting it close to where I want to turn straight. Okay. Now I'm going to definitely take this pin out because it's going straight towards my machine. And it won't go over that well, so I'm going to take some of my other pins out that I left in earlier. I was just being lazy. I should have repinned mine on the... you really shouldn't have them pinned sideways like I have it. You really should have them pinned on the edges. Because they're easier to pull out and you don't tend to stick yourself with them if you do that. Let's see here. Let's go one more and then I'll turn because this is a sharp turn. And I'll definitely need to take that one out. Okay. And I want to get a little closer to my edge here. And if your toy doesn't end up having really great edges to it, don't worry about it. Your animal or your whoever, your furry child won't care. They're just going to tear it up anyway. So this is really is a good practice for getting better at this type of sewing, because you don't have to worry too much about making mistakes on it as far as how good the edges look on it and so forth. It is possible to turn it as you go, but it takes practice. Alright, and I'm getting around. I'm going to pull this one out because I don't want that one in the way. I'm getting around to my solid side here. I'm just going to come a little bit past the edge here and then go straight just a little bit because I want to leave enough room to put my stuffing in. Let's see. Here. I'm going to go a little bit further. I think that's good, and I'm going to back up. Okay, that's good, I think. Because you just want, that's at least a couple of inches or more of a gap to be able to get your stuffing in there and your squeakers. Alright, so just moving to this side here, I'm going to get rid of my threads. Let's see here. Let's see, I think I need to back this up a little bit more so y'all can see. Now I've just got some needle and thread here, and this is what, I don't know if that's enough to sew it up, but that might be. And you're going to turn this right side out, which you do want to not make it too hard to turn it out right side out as far as leaving a good enough hole, and I hope I did. Oh, actually there's lots of curved edge on here, so to make those look better when I turn them so they won't be so bulky, I'm going to back up here so I'm going to take my pinking shears and actually cut the curves on this. So, trying to get this right over my trash can so the curved edges will not be as bulky. The straight areas won't matter. Okay, there we go. You can also, if you don't have pinking shears on the curved edges, you can just take your regular scissors. And I'm also going to, anytime you have like a spot like this you want to cut it, don't cut it all the way to where the thread is at, but pretty as close as you can get. And then if you don't have pinking shears, just ever so often you're going to cut some divots in here, little triangles. Takes a little bit longer to do it with your regular scissors, but you can do it. That's why I like to have the pinking shears, because you can get it done a lot faster this way. And if you're doing it with your other scissors, you don't have to cut quite as many of these in there, because see how deep this is? You can do one and then skip about not quite an inch, but a little more than a half an inch, and make another one and space them apart. But since the pinking shears make so many of them, that's why they're so close together, but they're not as deep as the ones that you would be making if you manually cut it with your other scissors. But this will make it turn better whenever you turn it right side out. Okay, so there's that, and there's my other end, and I need my other scissors so I can cut right here. And it's just, see, I cut it not all the way to it, but really, really close. Can't remember if I did this with my first toy or not, whenever I made the other one for my dog. And these are all things that are helpful or on other things that you would make. Anything with curved edges like this, it's always a good idea to use some pinking shears or to cut those little spots out. Alright, I got some stray pieces there. I'm going to cut them off. So now I'm going to get that out of the way, so the trash can out of the way, so I can scoot forward and finish this up. Okay, so now we can turn it right side out. Glad I thought of that before, because this is going to be kind of hard getting it turned, and then that would have been harder trying to turn it back. Oh, hey, Cindy. I'm showing people how to make a dog toy out of old blue jean material. I think. And if you have a point turner, which, where is mine? I've got some around here somewhere. There's one. You can use it to help push them out. My fingers were not doing a very good job of pushing it out. So, and these actually, this one I have right here, it came with this fiber that I bought, fiber fill. Usually each package of the fiber fill you buy, it comes with one of these. Sometimes you don't notice that they're in there because it's kind of buried in the middle of it. Okay, so I got that end turned. Let me get the other end. Oh, I'm kind of breaking my stitches there because it's tough material, so it's going to be kind of hard to turn right side out. But I'm going to be hand sewing it closed, so I'll probably fix that. Ooh, that's coming out. I'll put it to the side. I'd stuffed it in there ahead of time because I have a really big bag that I keep that fiber fill in, because I usually buy it kind of like in bulk, where it's a really big, it actually comes in a box. The last time I bought it, it came a big box of fiber. It was like a pound of it, but it's lasted me forever. I've taken some of it to work when we've done different projects at work, and because I used to do more stuffed animal type stuff, it seems like, but I don't really do that anymore. I think the last few times I've used it on some pin cushions that I've made. Okay, and you don't have to make it look real fancy. Once you pretty well get it pushed out, normally when you're doing a sewing project and you turned it right side out, to make your lines nice and crisp, you would take it to the iron and do some ironing. But this is a dog toy, so it's not necessary for it to have nice crisp edges because we're going to be stuffing it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out some of these squeakers. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 of them in there like I did last time. And if you watch this in video and you wanted to do this project later and you wanted some supplies like the little squeakers for it, just call the library and ask for Opal, and I'd be happy to get together some supplies for you if you wanted to try it out. And you can come back and watch the video again if you have trouble remembering. This is one of the simplest ones I've ever done, so I bet y'all could probably do it without having to watch it again. But I'm just going to, all this fiber stuff that came out, I'm going to stuff it with that. I'm going to move. I'm afraid this thread is going to fall in the floor, and I don't want that to happen since, oh, well, I don't know where my dog went. I think my husband went to feed her, so she decided to take off. Usually she hangs out with me the whole time I'm doing, whoop, I hear her collar rattling. Oh, both of them are in here. Lucy and Zoe. Okay. Lucy's my one that really, really loves toys the most. The other one likes toys too, but Lucy loves the ones with the squeakers in it because she likes to kill them. Or kill the squeaker. Oh, she found the squeaker in the other one. I can hear it squeaking. Okay, so now that I've got this in kind of filled, I'm going to put a little bit more to try to pad it before I put the squeaker in it. I know she's going to be able to kill it anyway, but I try to pad it some if I can. And with these, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and stuff it pretty tight, because that should help a little bit with protecting the squeaker to a degree. They're going to kill it, I mean, no matter what, if they really, really want to, because they're dogs. They're going to pierce it with their teeth, and so it's going to get broken eventually. So, okay, so now that I've got that in stuffed pretty good, I'm going to try to squish that in there. And if you got it pretty tight, it's not going to want to move, so you're going to have to kind of hold it in place while you get more stuffing on the other side of it to make sure that it doesn't move on you too much. Oop. Yep, it's trying to shift on me a little bit. Okay. But yeah, packing it in there tight is a good idea. Especially if you want to kind of protect the squeaker a little bit so they don't kill it quite as fast. But it does shift. It's already moving on me because it's the stuffing that I'm putting in there is actually trying to push it forward. I'm going to let it kind of sit there because I need to do the other end. You can't do the middle section until after you've done both ends. So we're going to stuff that in there. And then I'll show you how to hand sew it here in a minute. See, I'm using lots of this fiber fill because you don't want to not stuff it really good because it wouldn't hold up quite as well. Let's see here. Now, if you're ever doing bedding for your dogs, I found out the hard way, you don't want to put too much fiber fill in there where it's too like firm. It's because I like to wash and dry their beds, the ones that I make them, and it's a lot harder to get the core of it dry when the stuffing is really, really tightly packed in there. And so you don't want mold and stuff forming in your dog bed because you'll want to wash it quite often. With little dogs, it's a little bit easier to make beds for them that you can actually throw in the washer because they, of course, sleep in smaller beds. I think I put a little too much stuffing in here because I'm having trouble getting my squeaker in here, so I'm trying to burrow a hole in there. So the squeaker, yeah, there we go. Still trying to push out a little bit, but I'm going to put some stuffing on top of it. And then we'll see my dogs fight over the toy whenever I get done with it here, because both of them are in here. So, you know, you don't want to... There's two toys, of course, now, because there's the one I made before and now this one. But, of course, they're going to fight and want the newer toy, of course. Oh, where I ripped the seam, it's coming apart. But I'm going to hand sew that close. Alright, so I'm going to work until I work a spot in here for this last squeaker for the middle. And then I'm going to try to put a little more fiber on top of it to stuff it. Oh, I hear them playing with the other one. It's just making a popping noise. Okay, so I've gotten it stuffed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my thread here. And I don't believe I have enough thread on this, so I'm going to get a little bit more. And I'll show you the type of the... Oh, I guess I'll have to find that later. I dropped something. You don't have to use this, but this is for hand quilting, but it's extra strong and it's a little more durable, and I just feel like you don't have to use this for sewing this up, but I just feel like for a dog toy, it would be less likely that they would be able to, I guess, tear it open with this thread. Now, I did not use this on my sewing machine, so don't ever use hand quilting thread on your sewing machine. It's too thick for a sewing machine. It will ruin your sewing machine, so don't ever use this on your sewing machine. You can hand sew with it, but only hand sew. You do not want to do that. Mess up your machine with that. I haven't ever used this for hand quilting though. I specifically bought it because I was making some stuff for my dogs, and I was like, well, I want to make it a little bit stronger whenever I'm sewing it closed. Okay, and like I said, with this being a dog toy, I am not going to sew this where it's an invisible stitch. It's going to be a visible stitch because, like I said, with a dog toy, you don't have to worry about it being seen. It's just for your dog, so unless it's something that you don't, I mean, they're going to tear it up, so so no point in going to a lot of pains of making the sewing part not seen, because you'll probably be fixing their toy before too long because they'll be so hard on it. I know I'm constantly mending dog toys so I don't have to buy new ones. Okay, and this is just a simple kind of like what they call a whip stitch, and it's going to be very visible, but that's okay. Let's see, trying to move some of this because it came apart on me, but with this one I usually do it pretty close together. Alright, come on. Nope, I got one of my dogs pushing on my leg there wanting the toy. I'm going to turn this camera down a little bit more so I don't have to hold it up so high while I'm, well, that's too low now. Okay. I think I left my hole too big. I don't know that I made this even any easier for myself to see. Okay, so you're just going to pull it, and some of those other threads are wanting to peek through from earlier. Try really, really hard not to sew your finger. And this thread is a little bit harder to work with too. I could probably not have them quite so close together, these stitches. And you just want to kind of push in the fabric where it's turned in when you're sewing it together. And this thread has a horrible habit, there we go, of trying to tangle as you go. I think it's got lots of kinks in it for some reason. Yeah, it seems like I didn't cut enough thread off. And This is going to make it kind of tough since I put so much stuffing in it. Oh, somebody wants in her bed. Hang on. Here, I'll show you my puppy dogs. This one wants in her bed that's up in this chair. There you go. And then this one is the one that loves toys. That's waiting patiently for me to fix this toy for her. At least she's being quiet and not fussing at me. Usually when she knows I have one of her toys and I'm fixing it, she sits and fusses at me the whole time until I'm done with it. Because she has to have her toy right then. But actually, I guess next week I'm going to be doing another paint along, and this one won't be like the other ones. In the past several paintings I think I've done, it's been Q-tip paintings where you've done about half of the painting with Q-tips. I'm going to squeeze the squeaker back this way because actually I got a big hole there. I need to put some stuffing. So it's going to be one that's going to be some flowers, like some, I'm trying to think, is it summertime flowers? I think they are kind of summery looking, or spring. I'll show you here in just a moment. I've already done like a test. Ooh, I got my skin. A test, not really a test, but I've painted it one time to practice it. I like to practice it one time before I show people how to do it, just so I get a good idea what I'm going to be teaching. Because I watch the videos. These are not the paintings I do, or ones that I've watched videos on how to make them. Generally, 90% of the time they're videos I've found on the Art Sherpa's website, because she does lots and lots of tutorials on how to paint acrylic paintings, and she does some watercolors too. I'm trying to learn some watercolors. Hey, it's funny, it's showing me that people are watching this video, but I have no idea if y'all are commenting or not, because Facebook hasn't been showing me comments a lot here lately, so I'm usually clueless until after the video is over with if anyone's made any comments. The last week it worked, but the 2 times before that it didn't work, so it's just kind of hit and miss. So I don't know if I should report it or not, because it doesn't do it all the time. Okay, I think that's good. And this is going to be fun because I don't have a whole lot of thread left. I'm not going to be able to... Okay, I will knot it, but I'm going to do a different type of knot. Oh, I still don't have enough to do that, do I? Wait. There we go. That'll kind of knot it a little bit. And then, I don't know if that's going to be enough for her. If she might be able to get that. I wonder if I can do it one more time. Let's see if I can. Oh, nope, I'm not going to be able to. I am going to try to hide this in here and cut it off. And then I'll get that painting and I'll show you what we'll be painting next next week. We're getting close to the end of this month, so. Alrighty. So, well, alright, let's see who ends up getting this toy here. Lucy. It squeaks. See? Oh, and then there's a fight. Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it? You're not gonna try that hard, are you, Lucy? or Zoe, I'm sorry. Not being able to call my dogs their right names. Yeah, Lucy's gonna probably get to keep that toy. Aren't you, Lucy? Yep. She's gonna hide with it. Okay, let me get my painting and I'll show y'all what we were gonna be painting next week. Where did I stick it? I think it's over here. There it is. Alright. So this is what we're doing. I'm trying next week. I keep saying next month, but this is next week. And we'll be painting. I know it looks complicated, but it's actually kind of easy. So if you're interested in doing this next week, then I will be putting the sign-up sheet out for the supplies tomorrow. And you'll be able to call up to the library tomorrow and sign up for supplies. You won't be able to pick up the supplies until either the day before the program, which would be Wednesday, or the day of the program. Because I don't like to get it together too early because the paints might dry up on you. Because I put them into these little containers with lids on them, and I'm not sure how long they survive in those before they start drying up. So yeah, just let me know by the end of the day on Tuesday when we close at 6, before that we close. Let me know if you want supplies for this, and you can sign up for it, and then you will be able to come by and pick up the supplies either Wednesday or Thursday for the class. Alright. Oh, I'll switch this back over, and that's going to be it. And so I guess I just had a dog knock my door open. She's just wandering around with that dog toy now that she's got it. Okay. Alright, well, I'm sorry that I can't see any comments if y'all are making any comments. But it's, for some reason, it's not working again for me, so the comments section on this is kind of disappointing when that happens. I like being able to communicate with you guys while I'm doing my program. Alright, well, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.